Hello, beautiful souls. It's Vanessa Donaldson here with Your Life Beyond the Military. And I'm actually in a very special place right now. I am in Punta Gorda, Florida, at the Military Heritage Museum. Yes. And I have the pleasure of having a conversation with Bob Richardson, U.S. Navy retired. We're both volunteers here, and he's been here much longer than me, but he knows so much stuff. So I'm learning things about the museum through Bob. And in one of our conversations, we were discussing how we kind of met our spouses. And he mentioned something that really struck with me. He said, yeah, we kind of got married in a hurry. And so I wanted to explore that more because I kind of got married in a hurry to my Marine. And so Bob is going to share his story about married in a hurry and bring us a little back in time, back to how this all started, and just see what kind of nuggets we can share with our audience today. So, welcome, Bob. Thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, introduce yourself a little about your how this all started, maybe your position in the military when you started, and what year it was, and then focusing on married in a hurry, you're falling in love with your bride, all those things, how that came about.
Well, I've known my wife for some number of years, and in the 1952 time frame, 1952 time frame,
Okay.
I proposed to her to be married sometime the following October. I was in December, and we became engaged at that time. And I was on the USS Salerno Bay. It was active in the North Atlantic.
So you were already active duty when you met her.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was introduced to her by a classmate that I knew.
Oh.
Okay, and she was working in a store.
What's her first name?
Her name is Bernice.
Bernice. Okay, so she was working in a store.
I go by the name of B&B.
Oh my gosh, I love that B&B. Like I'm R&V, Russ and Vanessa, rolling with RV by land and sea, and you're B&B, Bob and Bernice.
Yeah. and I was I was a radio operator aboard the Salerno Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden, the Navy got a request from the State Department, and they wanted to go into the Persian Gulf and do some investigatory work, but they needed radio operators to radio that stuff out. And so the Navy volunteered to provide 40 radio operators, and I was one of those 40. But the ship that I was on, the Salerno Bay, finished its North Sea duties, and it was due to be retired, and it was technically sold to Gillette to become razor blades. So I was going to go somewhere, anyways, as was everybody aboard that ship.
Wait a minute, you're literally telling me the ship was slated to be cut up to razor blades and sold to Gillette Shaving Company?
Yeah.
This is how they recycle the ships?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
This was out of Boston.
Okay.
And this was July of 19. This was out of July of 1953.
Mm-hmm.
So the Navy not only loaned them 40 radio operators, but they loaned them a small vessel called the Duxbury Bay. And the Duxbury Bay was intended to be an auxiliary seaplane tender. But it was going to be their quarters and office for a period of 4 months in the Persian Gulf. And they were slated to leave sometime around August or September. And that meant our October opportunity to get married was in jeopardy.
Imagine that. The military had a different timeline and plan than B&B. So what happened next?
Well, she said we could try to get married earlier. We were both Catholics. So we went to the local church, and I was allowed a 2-week vacation before we left. And 2-week leave, I guess is what they call it.
Right, that was a vacation.
It's been a long time. And so we made plans to be married, and she went with me to Norfolk, Virginia there for the 3 weeks prior to its departure to the Persian Gulf.
Mm-hmm.
And we made the most of that. Right? And then finally I departed. The ship departed, and she moved back to Quincy, Massachusetts, where we declared that as our residence. Her parents owned a piece of land, and the house that they lived in, and another house in the back that they used to rent. So we were going to that house.
Okay.
And so this little one-room house.
So when you were together for those 2 weeks of leave, is that when you got married?
Yeah.
So altogether, you had 2 weeks of leave. You're in the Norfolk, Virginia area, and you went to like a courthouse.
No. I went to our church.
You got it through the Catholic Church.
Yep.
2 weeks.
I was then invited.
How did you put it all together in weeks?
Well, the best I can.
As best you can. What was your bride or your fiance thinking at that point? It wasn't a very long fiance period. It was just, you told her. Well, how did you bring this up to her? That this is.
No, she suggested it.
Oh, she suggested, very forward thinking. Okay, and she said, "Listen, if you're leaving, we got to get this together."
No,
Like that.
It meant that, as a man in the Navy, I still would be being paid by the Navy,
Right.
even though I was going to be working for the State Department for a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
And in that situation, when we're working for the State Department, we're no longer in the Navy customary supply lines and so forth, and so we were totally out of it.
Right, you were attached to a different unit, kind of, to the
And
State
so
Department.
when that happened, my mail opportunity stopped.
Mm.
I was writing letters to her.
Oh
She
my
was writing
God.
letters to me.
Yeah.
And the first time I was able to get her mail was the following April.
So how many months was that? Half a year or something? Or 6 months?
6 plus 3.
Yeah,
Cool.
9,
10
10 months later. Wow. I mean, I can relate a little to that. That's similar when I was in the Peace Corps, when I met my husband, and he was with the Marine Security Guard, and then he moved on to Italy. It took about 3 months for our mail to go back one way because there was no internet. This is pre-internet.
Yeah.
So, but 3 months, that took
This is
forever.
pre-internet.
Yours is definitely pre-internet, but
This is
10
pre-cell
months,
phone, pre-everything.
pre-cell phone too for us, I think. So 10 months for your mail. What did that feel like, waiting for you write a letter and then you're just out there waiting?
Well, in her case, my mail was also held up,
Oh my gosh.
but I don't know how. It was not for the same length of time. My mail did find a way to get to her in
Okay.
huge bunches,
Uh-huh. And
maybe
bunches in
a
batch.
month and a half to 2 at a time.
Yeah.
So she was hearing from me and writing to me, but I was not hearing from her.
Oh, what did
And,
that feel like? You're on the ship and you're missing your loved one. You're newlywed now.
well,
Heartbroken a little, huh? Or I don't know.
see, I was due to come back in the following June.
Mm-hmm.
August was due to come back the following June. And so when I came back after the following June, we set up residence in Huntsville and in Norfolk, Virginia.
In Norfolk, Virginia. Okay.
And our ship was in dry dock and being serviced. And then they told me that they wanted to send the ship back again the following year. And so they were leaving August.
Mm.
And, while I was back home, I wanted to start college.
Mm-hmm.
I had applied for college that I applied for all this started. And I was due to get out
Right.
in the first of December of that year. And they wanted to send me back to the Persian Gulf for a variety of reasons, part of which is I had to pass through the Suez different procedure than our State Department or our Navy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was an amateur radio operator, so I was able to communicate with the various stations that we had to pass by in the Suez Canal. for the ship's benefit.
Mm.
And they needed that help. They wanted to have that back again because it was much better having somebody that knew the system to go through.
Right.
Well, that was not in my liking. So
Mm-mm.
I had had a previous operation there at Portsmouth Naval Hospital. And that previous operation, went away afterwards. So I took a little trip over to the hospital, and the doctor that operated on me was there, and he saw what he saw, and he says he had heard my story about wanting to send me over there again. So he said, "I'll hold you here for observation, and we'll operate on you again, and you won't be eligible to go over there."
Wow.
And that worked. That worked. But when I finally recovered from the operation, the ship had already left.
Yeah.
They had sent me to another aircraft carrier.
Oh.
So it turned out while I was in there for that operation, I found cancer. So I had,
Oh, wow.
and that's what disabled me somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
So I was not fit. So they sent me into that unit, that checkout unit, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
And we got out, I started college.
And when you were back to your bride, B&B were together again.
Yep, in a little house.
Oh my God.
In Massachusetts.
In Massachusetts now. Okay.
3 children in there.
Oh my God. That little house. Little house with 3 children.
No, there's really only one in that house. And then went to the veterans house.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We had
Okay. Expanded a little.
yeah.
Okay. So you and B&B married how many years now?
Well, 71.
71 years of marriage. I have no idea what that looks like. So I'm in 27 years. So I've got a ways to go. And you're 91, you said? 91.
A couple of months I'll be 92.
You've survived the military, you survived cancer, bout with cancer.
Well, that was the first one. I had
Oh my,
about 52. So
you just keep going like the Energizer battery.
well, I'm not ready to go yet.
Well, no, you've got a lot to share, a lot to do still on this earth. So thank you for sharing that story. What is like maybe a highlight or a takeaway you would tell somebody who, they're maybe in love and maybe there's all kinds of issues going on. Maybe the family is in agreement with it. Maybe there's a work conflict, school. What highlights would you give to people that are, going back to our 20s or in our early, like 19, 18-year-old, and you're thinking about marriage, thinking about the one? What advice would you give since you've been on this earth a little longer than the rest?
Well, I find that hard because there were circumstances. My family thought it was premature for me to be getting married. And
Right.
she was one of 9 in her family, and I was eventually one of 5 in ours. But I was the oldest, and she was pretty close to the youngest. So
Yeah. So there's always circumstances, right? So it doesn't matter what time of season in life, everybody's going to have a circumstance with their point of marriage, and it usually does involve extended family, right? So you have issues with, the parents have their idea of when you should be married, and you've got your own idea. So how do you handle that?
Well, her family accepted it. My family did not.
Okay.
But we lived near her family, so that's how that happened.
Did you get that? Her family accepted it. His family did not. So they ended up moving near her family. So
we didn't do it because of that.
No.
It turned out that was a convenient place to live, and we immediately took that up.
Took the offer.
The offer was great.
Uh-huh.
And I started college, and I went through 5 years of college at Northeastern University.
Wow.
And in that period of time, we had 3 children.
Oh my goodness.
And I had some excellent work, school-related subjects that was a great benefit to me. and a real great start for my engineering career. So,
Oh, very nice.
so I worked for General Electric for 33 years. And even though I was only in the Navy for 5 months, almost 6 years,
6 years.
but after working for General Electric for 33 years, I would say that I did more working with the Navy in 33 years than I did as a on-duty type.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
that's the end of the story there.
that's impressive. 3 years of 3 to 5 or 6 years of military service, more experience, more hands-on, more things learning than 30 something years as an engineer with another company. That's how much the Navy put you to use. Probably didn't let you rest much, all that discipline and all that helped your future job too. So
there was a major program that started in 1955, about the time I started college. And my college was a work school related thing at Northeastern, but my assignment was MIT, which is a great engineering lab. I was working in the lab, and that lab was given the job for the Polaris guidance systems.
Okay.
They came up with an inertial platform, which was brand spanking new, and I was right in on the ground floor with the team, and followed through with that for 33 years.
Oh my gosh. So what a story here. We could go on and on. I think it's been about 20 minutes, but just wanted to thank you again. Thank you, Bob, for sharing a little bit of the past, because I guess we can read it in history books and all that, but I like bringing living history, to the forefront. And this is living history right here. So I wanted to focus today really on just his love story and getting married in a hurry and how that all transpired and where he's ended up, and 71 years of marriage going strong. We want to encourage and bless those military couples out there. It is challenging. There's a lot of ups and downs and arguments that come along with it, but the positive is, look what can happen at the end. The life that you create together because you stuck together, you worked out your differences, and maybe parents might have issues here and there, but it seems like they do come down and they realize, hey, this guy or this lady wasn't so bad after all. That's kind of like my story, which I'll share maybe another time. But thank you so much for joining us, and be safe out there, and God bless. We'll see you another time. This is Vanessa Donaldson with Your Life Beyond the Military. Bye. Roger that. I like that. Roger that.
Okay.